everyone. Did you have a good afternoon? Did you have a good lunch? Yes? I hope you all had a good week. So today, as we know, is part 2 of the exercise. But before I start, I just want to ask, did anyone here do the exercises we said for last week? Did anyone actually do them? Raquel, good on you. Every day? Did you do it every day? Every day, good on you. Excellent, excellent. Okay, and did anyone do no exercise? Is that like everyone else? Okay, now we all know how hard it is. It really is hard. So actually, I have to admit myself, I'll be honest, I started and I did it every day until Wednesday, and then something happened. Everything mucked up and I had to get up very early, and it was kind of like hard. And then from Wednesday onward, every day was just like, you could say I derailed myself. But you could say that, you shouldn't ever give up. You just keep trying. So even if something happens, just say, okay, I messed up. I didn't finish my exercise routine, but, you've always got tomorrow and next day, so you can always improve. Did anyone exercise less than normal? So you got your normal, no one? One person? Whatever you normally do.
10 minutes.
You do 10 minutes, so did you do 5? Actually, I actually had prizes for those who did the most and those who did the least. Prize for the most and prize for the least. So Nick will get the prize for the least, and Raquel will get the prize for the most, but I'll have to give it to you next week because I didn't bring it with me, I forgot. Okay? So thank you. I'll tell you what the prize is. The prize is a water bottle that's in the shape of a dumbbell. So it's a dumbbell, but it's also a water bottle. So you can fill it up with water, and then you can also do that, but you can drink the water. But when you drink the water, it's light, of course. Anyway, so today we're going to look how you can combine exercise with good nutrition, how you can enhance your exercise benefits many times over. Our presenter, Isak Ivanovic, has done studies in this field, and he will once again lead us through the presentation today. So after the presentation, once again, we will watch a short video, and if anyone has any questions, of course. And then Juditsa Kukuya will lead us through some practical activities. So she'll come up the front and she'll introduce what she will be doing, and she will also be giving you some handouts as well. And then when we finish that part, we will all go to the hall and we have some refreshments. I could say light dinner. I've made some soup. There's some bread. There's gluten-free bread, lots of gluten-free options for those that are gluten-free. And also dips, and I don't know what everyone else bought. I haven't seen all the food yet. But if you did bring something, there's actually plenty of food. I also got some vegan pizzas. So there's vegan pizzas that I had in my freezer, so I put that there. And there's some, I think, what do they call them? Wedges, yeah. So everything's mainly gluten-free, but there is some for those that have gluten intolerances and that. Okay, so that will be all for the announcements. So a warm welcome to Isak, and if you have any questions, you can also ask him in the hall later on. Okay, thank you, Isak.
Thanks everyone for coming out. Appreciate it. So last week we touched on why we should exercise, okay, and how exercise actually helps us. And we talked a little bit about why we should do it and how it will help us today and how it will help us long into the future. And I tried to give you guys like a bit of an understanding in regards to why you should exercise, why it matters, and how it will help you today. And we talked briefly about how in terms of helping you today, you'll feel better, your mood will be improved, you'll get sick less, and your brain actually gets smarter. You grow brain cells, your memory improves. Those are some of the things that we touched on last week. And of course, for your health, I introduced the quote, "Perfect circulation is perfect health." And I talked a little bit about how exercise helps with your circulation. And some of the ways that are like to quantify why we should exercise. And if somebody asks us, why we should exercise, or if the doctor tells you you should exercise, you should have an understanding a little bit about, you can tell somebody how or why they should do it. So today we're going to talk a little bit about sleep, food, how to train, and just your mindset around it. And I think today is my favorite one. I'll enjoy it more than last week's. I think we're going to learn some interesting things that you probably haven't seen before. So the first thing that we'll start with is actually sleep, okay? So who here slept more than 8 hours? Put your hands up. I slept more than 8 hours today. More than 8, yeah. Okay. What about 7? 7? Okay. What about less than 6? Okay. All right, so we'll look at some things. So first off, those who slept less than 6, if anyone would like to volunteer, did you notice that you ate a little bit differently today, that you had some different cravings to when you had maybe 8 hours of sleep? Anybody notice anything like that? Well, the science actually says that on days that you sleep less, where you have less than 6 hours of sleep, the part of your brain that craves junk food, okay, you can see in this little picture on the bottom left, but the part of your brain that craves junk food and sugar actually lights up when you have less than 6 hours sleep, okay? So you actually lose a little bit of willpower and you become a little bit more impulsive when you sleep less. So one of the things that science has shown us, so in terms of our brain, we have like the front part of our brain here, they call it the prefrontal cortex, and that's like the place where you make decisions, and that's the rational place of a human's mind. And so that area actually turns off a little bit. It's very sensitive to sleep loss. And so when you sleep less, we actually notice that because your ability to make decisions is impaired, you lose motivation in regards to wanting to exercise, but you actually start to crave more junk food, so food that's high in fat and sugar. And so in some studies, we can see that on average, if you sleep less than 6 hours, you'll actually eat 200 to 500 more calories in a day than you would normally. So just to quantify how much food that is, in terms of apples, 500 calories is like 20 apples. 500 calories of junk food is maybe like 1 Big Mac, right? So it's not that much when you look at it in terms of junk food, but in terms of healthy food, it is a lot. And it does make a difference over time. So if you're sleeping less, you're going to start to crave more junk food over time. So something else that's important to note, when you do start to sleep less, okay, not only does your brain change, you actually become a little bit more hungry, but actually even just your stomach, your body will release the hormone called ghrelin, and that increases by 15 to 30% when you sleep less. And then on the other hand, leptin, which is your I'm full hormone, will actually be 20% reduced when you sleep less. So not only do you want to eat more, you actually will eat more because you'll feel full slower. Something else that sleep will actually change is your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone. So when you sleep less, when you do actually wake up, cortisol is what actually wakes you up in the morning. And it's meant to go down slowly during the day. But when we sleep less, it actually stays up. And that's like a stress signal to your body. And so your body will think that it's in a desperate situation. And so if you're sleeping less and your cortisol is higher, it's actually a signal for your body to store like abdominal fat, okay? So not only will all these things happen, but even the places that you store fat, will change. We've also got our testosterone and growth hormone, which get released when we sleep. And of course, if we're sleeping less, testosterone, for example, is really important for motivation and willpower and just getting through the day, like for males. And your growth hormone is really important for your recovery. So you can see all these factors that we just went through are ways that will de-optimize your body if you're not sleeping. And of course, with your motivation and your cravings, you're going to be less likely to exercise. So on that note, we've listed all these things now that sleep will actually not do for you in regards to exercise. Now let's look at this really, really interesting study so we can see like how much not sleeping will actually change your exercise. So if you look here on the chart here on the bottom right, so a study was basically done between two groups of people who were trying to lose weight. They were both eating less food, so that they were in a calorie deficit and they were losing weight. And so the two groups was one that was sleeping for 8.5 hours a night and one that was sleeping for 5.5 hours a night. And so basically what we saw is they lost the same amount of weight, okay, which is interesting to note. A lot of people when they're trying to get healthy, they look at the scale mainly, but they're not looking at other things. So here we can see that the group that slept 8.5 hours, the percentage of the weight that they lost that was fat was 56%. Okay, so 56% of their weight loss was fat. But the group that slept 5 hours, 25% of the total weight they lost was fat. And then the scary thing is if you slept 5.5 hours, most of the weight that you lost was actually in muscle. 2.4 kilos versus 1.5 kilos in the group that slept. So you can see as well the group that was sleeping lost 1.4 kilos of fat, and the group that wasn't sleeping lost 0.6 kilos of fat. So a lot of people will be concerned with weight loss, and they'll be on the scale and they'll see that it's going down, but they don't realize if you're not sleeping properly, the exercise and the diet that you could be doing is not giving you as much benefits as you want. So here we can see that if we sleep less and we're on a diet, we're actually going to lose more of our muscle than our fat. So we want to make sure that we've got our sleep right before we start exercising. But still, like, even a little bit of exercise with no sleep is much better than nothing. So next, we've got food and exercise. So the theme today is making the most out of our exercise. So first we saw how important it is to sleep and how it affects us in a lot of different ways. And now we've got the way that food will actually change our ability to exercise. So here we've actually had a study that was done that compared a group of people exercising, and some people were drinking a cherry juice, okay? And the other group was drinking nothing. And so we've got these three really interesting graphs. The one here at the top is just basically your immune response after exercise, the amount of inflammation. So when you do actually go ahead and exercise, your body actually damages itself a little bit. And then when you recover, it repairs. But when it repairs itself, you come back a little bit stronger. And that's how you get fitter, and that's how you get the benefits of exercise. So that's something that is normal and has to happen. But you can see that the group that wasn't drinking the cherries, they had more inflammation, even more inflammation than the group that was drinking the cherries. And the group that was drinking the cherries, their inflammation went down faster, and they had less of it. So basically, they recovered quicker from the exercise. Now, this one here on the bottom right, that is muscle soreness. So has anyone here gone to the gym and then felt really sore the next day? Yeah, it happens a lot. It's really common. And so then they recorded soreness in these groups. And so the group that wasn't drinking the cherry was almost double as sore as the group that was drinking the cherry drink. And the reason for that is cherries, have a lot of antioxidants, and they have a lot of beneficial nutrients in them, which help your body recover quicker. And so you'll experience less soreness. And so when it comes to making the most of our exercise, what does less soreness mean? What do you guys reckon? What does less soreness mean for your next workout? It means you're more likely to do it, actually. If you're less sore, you're more likely to go to your next workout. A lot of my friends, for example, I tried to get them into being healthy and training, and one of the main things that I hear is actually, I'm too sore. It hurts too much. I don't want to put myself through that again. So you can see here that if you're eating healthy, you're eating your fruits, for example, you're going to recover quicker and you're going to feel less sore. And so probably to me, when I was doing my research for this, the most shocking thing that I saw was this graph here on the left. And so basically, they had people do a workout, and they tested their strength the next day. And so you can see the group here that wasn't drinking the cherries was weaker the next day. As you would expect, you just worked out, you're going to be weaker. But the group that was drinking the cherries and experienced all this recovery, they were actually only a little bit weaker, okay, after having a hard workout. And they recovered much faster as well, so you can see there. So that's something really amazing that I didn't expect, because I always thought that when you work out, you're going to be weaker. But you can see that if your nutrition is right, you're going to get much more out of your workout, and you'll be ready for your next one.
Can I just add to that? Because I'm just thinking how cherry can make such a big difference, and why is it in the drink, form? Because this is like a cold pressed juice. So when you drink it, it goes straight to your bloodstream. It's much more beneficial than if you would eat cherries.
I think so as well. I was thinking about the same reason, because you can eat 10 cherries, you're probably not going to get as much as you would if you were to juice it. You'll get so much more of the antioxidants probably than if you were to eat it. But it still goes to show that what you eat is going to affect your ability to exercise. So yeah, I don't know about you guys, but when I was looking into this and I realized this, people will tell you that eating is important for your exercise, but I didn't realize that it's almost, going to double your results and double how quick you recover from it. So to me, that was a little bit shocking. So when we do talk about, eating healthy and your ability to, compete athletically, we can see, some plant-based athletes that have competed and done very well. We've got Djokovic. We all know Novak Djokovic, best tennis player of all time. I'm not sure if many of you remember, but 10 years ago, he would often pull out of games because it was too hot. He couldn't finish the full matches, especially in Australia. And he said that when he went plant-based or started eating healthier, he became the best after that, basically. He was able to recover often. He was able to finish all his matches. We've got Lewis Hamilton as well, one of the best Formula One drivers in the world. And he's also said the same thing, that when he went plant-based, he started to notice recovery, an increase in stamina. And we've got Carl Lewis here as well, 9-time Olympic gold medalist in sprints and long jump. And he's basically said the same thing. After he actually went vegan. The other two didn't really go vegan. But he went vegan in particular, and he also was setting records after that point. And I think the point is, Djokovic, for example, is not vegan, but he's plant-based. And what that basically means is he's just eating more fruits or more food that has the benefits of that tart cherry study that we looked at. So it's not like you have to not eat meat or not eat the things that you enjoy. It's just what you eat, just eating more of it. So people often think that, eating healthy is maybe not a manly thing or not something, that you want to do every day. It's kind of looked down upon a little bit. But we can see here, some of the greatest athletes ever, do care about their health and they do care about what they eat. So that's something for us to consider, next time somebody looks down on us maybe for not eating the right way. All right, so now moving it into a little bit of a more practical amount. So how should we train? I spoke last week about high-intensity interval training and how that's the most important style of training. And the reason why is because you're able to get reps, basically. And you basically push your heart really hard, and then you bring it down low. And just like going to the gym and doing reps on the bench press, it's the same with cardio. When you do a rep of getting your heart rate really high and then bringing it back down, it has a better effect than if you were to just bring it high and leave it there for 1 hour. So studies have basically shown that a 15-minute high-intensity training session actually gives you the same benefits as a 1-hour jog. And the thing is, we're also pressed on time these days. If you tell somebody you have to, jog for an hour to, get whatever effect we've spoken about, and you tell somebody, well, you can do it in 15 minutes, they're much more likely to do it again and again. But the thing is, the sessions are harder, okay? But there is still a way to bring it together and get the most out of it. Another important concept when it comes to exercise is progressive overload. So if you're a beginner, you'll go into the gym or just your exercise routine, and you'll start, and you'll notice maybe you don't necessarily see results in regards to maybe the weight that you're lifting. And so something that people have to consider is you have to increase what you're doing over time. So if we actually go back to this one here, you can see the top chart. That's your inflammation, your body's response to exercise. So every single time you exercise, that happens to you. Your body it goes through a little bit of damage, and you have to heal, and it brings you back stronger. So after each workout, if you just keep doing the same workout, it's the same response that you're going to get every time. But over time, when you feel ready, after 2 weeks of the same thing, you bring it up a little bit more weight, 10 seconds more on a sprint, for example, and you start to get more inflammation, which results in a greater adaptation over time. So you'll start to get faster, stronger, healthier. So the point is, you don't want to keep doing the same thing forever. You want to try and make it a little bit better over time. But that's not a big deal. Just as long as you're thinking about making it better, over time, you're going to get the results. So in terms of what I think is the optimal exercise for health, so there's a nice little story that I want to share. So there's a doctor that was in Germany just before World War II. His name was Walter Kempf, and so he left Germany right before World War II, and he went to Duke University in America. And so he did some really, really interesting work there, where he pioneered like healing people with diet. And in his program, maybe a little bit tangent, but I think it's important, he was basically able to reverse heart disease, and he was able to reverse diabetes with a particular diet where he just gave people brown rice and fruit. And he gave that to them 3 times a day. It was really restrictive, but really effective. And so one of the other things that he noted in his research was that people had to exercise 4 times a day. And he noticed that when people exercised 4 times a day, that's when their body performed, or rather it healed the fastest when they were exercising 4 times a day. And so he actually had people doing it 4 sessions, an hour in a day. He would just throw them in the gym and say, just don't leave until you've done an hour. Maybe that's not the best way to do things, but that's what he figured out. And so I spoke to you a little bit about high-intensity interval training, how it gives you the benefits of a long workout in a short amount of time. But if you actually do trampoline jumps, you can see here in this picture, where you just get a little rebounder like that, and you actually jump on it for 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes doesn't sound like much, but if you actually try, it's quite a bit of a workout. And you may not realize, but your legs actually have most of the muscles in your body. So by going ahead and jumping on the rebounder 4 times a day, you're getting almost a full body workout. And not only is it high intensity because it's quite hard, so you're getting that effect in a small amount of time, but you're getting like a cardio workout as well, because it is, on your heart, you have to breathe to do it, and you're also getting the effect of muscles. So for people that, want to get their health in track as fast as possible with the least amount of exercise, I would say that the rebounder for 10 minutes, 4 times a day, is going to be the best thing that you can do. Everyone loves a deal. I love value for money. I think when it comes to exercise, the best deal for getting the most bang for your buck is the trampoline jumps 4 times a day. And so, in terms of the theme, what we've been talking about today, just as Yasmina was saying, she let something happen. She couldn't work out this week. She couldn't fill in her sheet. But it's no reason to be upset at yourself or to make yourself feel bad. When you miss a workout, it does not equal failure. It doesn't mean that you've done something wrong. One big workout won't make any difference in your life, really. But many small workouts over years and years will make a huge difference in your life. So, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. So it's about building the habit and not building the perfect session. It's really common when people start, they experience what I call paralysis analysis, where they basically overthink what workouts they're trying to do. They want to get the perfect workout at the perfect time, make sure they eat everything. But what's more important is just sticking to whatever workout you can do and just coming back to it again and again. And that way you're going to reap all the benefits of all the things that we spoke about today and last week. And one thing that I did forget to mention that I want to bring up, in regards to sleep, there's a doctor called Matthew Walker, and he is talking a lot about sleep and the benefits of it, and he did a lot of research on it. And something that he noted was on days where daylight savings occurred and people lost an hour of sleep and gained an hour of sleep, on the days where people lost an hour of sleep, car accidents went up and heart attacks went up on that day. And then on the day where people gained an hour of sleep, it was the opposite. So in terms of making the most of our exercise, the most important things that we need is good sleep. At least 7 hours is what we should shoot for. That's where you start to experience most of the benefits. And then you want to make sure to eat a good diet, And I think that's a little bit ambiguous sometimes as well. Nobody tells you what a good diet is, but a good diet is just something that's full of whole grains, legumes, beans, dark leafy greens, fruits, and vegetables, you know? So if your plate has those things on it, then you're probably eating a healthy diet most of the time. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. You know, that's part 2 of the exercise talk. We talked about why we should exercise, and now we talked about how to make the most of our exercise. So I hope you guys enjoyed that and learned something. And if we have any questions, now's the time for it.
Thank you for that. That was great. You talk about the benefits of sleep. I take melatonin to help me sleep. What are your thoughts on that? I get my 7, sometimes 8 hours of sleep because of melatonin.
Mm-hmm. I do the same thing, actually.
Oh, good.
I have a bad habit of staying up at night, and I notice when I take melatonin, you're asleep, and you sleep more than without it. And the research on it, I think, is mixed. Some people say there's negative effects, like your sleep quality is worse, but there's also a lot of evidence that shows it's a really powerful antioxidant for your brain. And so I think I came to the same conclusion as well. Maybe I sleep a little bit worse, but I sleep more, and I sleep more regular. So for myself, I think it's a way lesser evil.
How long do we keep taking melatonin?
I think, not medical advice, I don't really know, but I've been taking it for years at this point, and I haven't noticed any negative effects. And when I don't take it, I don't notice anything either. I just go to sleep, almost very similar. But it's a nice way that I keep myself, going to bed at 10 o'clock every day.
I was researching a lot on melatonin.
Do you think the sleeping benefits happen even when you take a sleeping pill, the actual chemical sleeping pill?
I think that's different. I think the really strong sleeping drugs, your sleep is a lot worse. But the reason the doctor will prescribe that to you is because even sleep that's significantly worse is better than no sleep. So as long as you have a good reason to take it, then you should probably keep taking it. But if you don't need it to sleep, like a lot of people take Valium to sleep and they probably don't need it, like that's not a good habit, long term for sure.
Yeah, as Isaac said, how important sleep is. And yes, if you don't sleep on regular basis, eventually some disease can come. And then doctor needs to weigh pros against cons. And sometimes they will prescribe you, a strong medication or Valium to relax you so you can sleep. Sleeping is so important. And in relation to melatonin, I was researching a lot, while Sasha was sick. And doctors are saying that melatonin is under-researched, that it's very powerful antioxidant, and that you cannot really overdose on melatonin, and that side effects are minimal. So they are strongly recommending melatonin.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
So maybe the more you take, the more you sleep.
You say that sleep is so important. What if you're getting that 7 hours, but it's past 12 a.m.? Are you still getting the benefits of that?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think your body is not that dumb, and I think that the sun and your body's reaction to it. There's a word for it. If somebody can remind me.
Circadian rhythm.
Yeah, circadian rhythm. Yeah, so your body has a circadian rhythm where basically it has an internal clock, and it's tuned in to the sun and sunlight through your eyes. And it's a little bit hard to fool that because when you do go outside, you do see the sun, and your body's clock attunes to that. So they've basically shown that you need to sleep in accordance to your circadian rhythm. So depending on where you live and the sun, they say that sleep before 12 a.m. is more valuable than sleep after 12 a.m. because your body releases more growth hormone and that type of thing. And a really interesting point on that is they compared night shift workers versus people that weren't working night shifts. And so they had the night shift workers have their meal at 4 a.m., exact same meal, and they had people that were waking up in the morning at 7 a.m. have the exact same meal, and they basically noticed that people that were having the meal at 4 a.m., the night shift workers with the swapped circadian rhythms, that exact same meal with the exact same calories put on 30% more fat. So, yeah, the way that your body interacts with the sun and your circadian rhythm, it's important, and I think it's hard to trick it.
I'm glad that Philip brought up the sleeping before midnight and after midnight, because I find even if I sleep, say, 8 hours after midnight, I still feel tired when I wake up, comparing to going to bed before midnight, which is not very often, sadly. Also, the question, is melatonin helpful when I have severe back pain that I do? Will that also relax me enough to rest with melatonin or sleep?
It's not some miracle drug. It's just like a little bit of a push in the background where you feel a little bit more tired. I think the general doctor's advice is not to get reliant on it, not to take it. But if you have some really bad pain, it's not like a chemical drug, that alters your brain. It's just your sleep hormone. Any other questions? All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it. Hope you learned something today.
Good evening, everyone. I didn't prepare my presentation, and I don't want to go and have another presentation since we have such a good presentation. And I'm so glad that our children are smarter than parents. I like that in them because I know that they are learning more and more better than us. So thank you, Isak, for taking us through this and reminding us how important that movement is, because that's how we are created, to move. We're forgetting many times that our comfort allows us to be lazy. Depends on the nature of the work and freedom that we experience. Nothing is pushing us like we used to. Our parents, the work is pushing them to move, but us, oh yeah, I have flexible hours. I have plenty of time to do whatever I want. So thank you for reminding us how to look after our body, because down the bottom of it is that our body is a temple of Holy Spirit. And we need to think of how healthy I want to be for God to use me. And that's all about it. If my mind is healthy and my body is healthy, I have that stamina to work not just for myself, but for others as well. And that's what we need, energy to work for others. Today I'll prepare some stretching exercises, which are a complement after heavy and good workouts. But I just want to remind you that exercise is building my house. If you know how the house is building, brick by brick, that's how the exercise should be, from one brick to the other. So you are gradually increasing that amount of exercise so your body can take and get used to that exercise. And then you want to feel the pain, you want to experience that pull back and say, oh, I don't want to, it hurts everything. But you need to continue building. You can't stop. If you stop, then you will experience pains and aches. And I discovered that through all my professional work, because when I stop exercising and coming back to work, I feel back pain, I feel leg pain, I feel pains and aches all over my body. So consistency is very important. Don't give up. Even if it hurts, just continue. So today I have prepared 2 different notes. One is a stretching exercise that you can take home and do and implement. Put it on your daily routine. Any stretching that can implement, and it's easier for you, it's good for you, you can do it, even if you're 70 years old, 80 years old, or you're only in 20s, okay? So they're accessible to all of you. It just depends which one you like. You don't need to do all of them in one day. If you choose 5, but consistently doing 5, and then you said, okay, these are boring now, let's go do it something else, changing. So for your interest can stay in it. The other one is the 5 W's of chair yoga. When I say yoga, many people have this, oh, yoga, no, I don't want to get involved. It's nothing to do with yoga. It's actually exercises. I don't know why they call it yoga. Just because maybe it's more static exercise and you hold for longer and there's a certain positions and so on, and they call yoga. In my time, when I was studying, we didn't call yoga. Either it's stretches or exercise. Yoga is something that they are teaching you, including the minds and meditations, yes. Nothing to do. But this is some sequences. Also, you have explanation what is this exercise is teaching you, and anyone who has certain conditions can do it. If you want to control your weight, or if you have problem with osteoporosis or arthritis, diabetes, and so on. And then you have, that's why I call it the 5W. And then they said when to do it and why to do it. Okay, and I think that Isak covered this a lot of in his presentation, so I won't do it. You can read it so you remind yourself in that. So I do have a copy, and if I don't have enough, come back to me. We can do some more copies in our copy machine. But I will hand it out to you on the way out. What I want you to show you today is just how simple. You don't need a big space or gymnasium or going to gym every morning like my colleague, 5 o'clock in the morning, she's going to gym. I said, bless your heart, but I don't have that stamina to do it so early in the morning. You can do it at home. You can do it any time in the day, but do it. Either morning, either afternoon, either midday. When you go to physio, they usually tell you, like a doctors, take the tablets 3 times a day. And they do your exercise 3 times a day. And guess what? If you do it, you're recovering. So instead of paying $90 for your physio, stick with some exercises. Spare some money for yourself, yeah? So we will be going to the hall, and then I will ask you to just take one chair, and maybe we can do it as a circle. And when you take your chair, you will put this chair back after that. So, but I'll show you some chair exercises, some stretches, not too much, maybe 10 minutes is enough, just to remind you that, oh yeah, this is what I do. If you're the most confined space, even if you're on aeroplane for 24 hours, you can do it, some exercises even sitting down, yeah? All right, thank you for listening. I will stop here, but I will hand to these notes and... there, we've got a video before we go. Perfect.
Have you ever wondered what happens to your body when you start exercising? The changes to your body physique, muscles, the mind, and the heart? Well, in this video, we are going to explore just that. They say exercise is like taking a magical pill for your brain, and if there were ever a drug that could do for your health everything that exercise can, it would likely be the most valuable pharmaceutical ever developed. So why is exercise so good for us? One of the core habits practiced by the most successful people is, well, you guessed it, exercising. Have you ever wondered why? In his book, The Power of Habit, Charles Duhigg talks about what are known as keystone habits. These are the habits that, if practiced, developed, and applied, influence change in every aspect of our lives. Exercising is a keystone habit, which is why anyone looking to develop self-discipline regularly goes to the gym or does some form of exercise. So we all know the physical benefits of exercise, right? You look better, you lose weight, you become lean, you gain muscle, and generally, you become fit. These changes are easily observable by the naked eye. However, the benefits of exercising aren't just skin deep. Most people who exercise will observe that they're happier, more motivated, and less depressed. This is why exercise has been described as the miracle drug and has been recommended as a treatment for depression, insomnia, memory loss, Alzheimer's, and Parkinson's disease, among others. The reason for this is that the body naturally produces hormones while exercising, and these hormones are serotonin, endorphins, and a protein known as brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Each of these hormones in their own way helps reduce stress levels, lifts someone's mood, aids in better sleep, improves learning, and also leads to increased confidence. When you start exercising, especially for the first time or after a long break, you'll feel more alert and energized because ramping up your heart rate means a boost in overall flow and oxygen to the brain. This releases a special brain cell called dopamine, which is responsible for motivation. If you've ever felt tired or lazy and don't feel like doing anything, that's because you're experiencing a dopamine deficit. Dopamine is responsible for our motivation and attention, and it's responsible for the feeling of satisfaction when we accomplish something. It makes you want to do things, and it reassures you that the thing was worth doing. So if you're experiencing a dopamine deficit, you can find it hard to get things done, because you're not getting enough fulfillments to justify doing them. But whenever you exercise, you directly increase the amount of dopamine in your blood, and instead of feeling tired and worn out, you suddenly feel motivated and energized. We'll talk more about this later, but first let's look at the physical effects of exercise. The physical effects of exercise may not be observed within a few weeks of working out. Chances are, even after a month of working out, there will be little visible results. However, throughout the period of time you are working out and exercising, biological changes take place, whether you can see them or not. For a start, a few weeks after starting a cardio routine, you will notice that you have increased energy due to a rise in metabolism and mitochondria. One of the biggest misconceptions of exercise is that exercise causes weight loss. No, exercise doesn't cause weight loss. It causes muscle gain. And since muscle have mitochondria, and mitochondria burn energy. Mitochondria are parts of your cells that convert carbs, fat, and proteins into fuel that your muscles use to do their job. After 6 to 8 weeks, research has shown that people can increase their mitochondria by up to 50%. With more mitochondria in your cells, you will notice a change in your fitness. For instance, you can easily climb flights of stairs that would have previously left you feeling like you just ran a half marathon. After a month or so, your muscles will start to grow and get stronger. While this might not be obviously visible, you will feel the strength in your muscles when you work out. Here, the increase in metabolism is even higher. Muscle cells need a lot of energy, which means they burn a lot of calories. In fact, they burn more calories than fat cells, even when you're not exercising. So the time you spend working out reaps benefits long after you stop working out. This means you can literally slouch on your couch watching TV or Netflix and still be burning fat. Although, take this with a grain of salt. According to the U.S. National Science of Medicine, if you consistently keep exercising after a period of 6 months, mainly concentrating on cardio, you can expect a 20% increase in your overall VO2 max. VO2 max is often used as a fitness indicator. It measures the rate at which your body can transport oxygen to your muscles for fuel. So basically, a higher VO2 max means you should be able to run faster and longer in a shorter time span. So a 20% increase in your VO2 max should mean that you can run about 20% further in the same amount of time. So this means that if you can run a mile in 10 minutes, a 20% increase in your VO2 max should mean that you can now run 1.2 miles in a 10-minute period, or 1 mile in about 8 minutes. Finally, regular exercise increases the size of your heart and eventually strengthens it. When exercising, your heart rate increases and pumps more blood than it normally would. In the process, the muscles in your heart are strengthened, which reduces the chance of getting a heart attack. This usually happens after about 6 months of regularly working out, right about the same time the physical effects of exercise are easily visible. Some of the physical effects that might not be visible include an increase in blood supply to the brain. The brain thus works more efficiently, and this leads to better focus when doing activities. Furthermore, exercising promotes the development of new brain cells, which improve learning and memory. Also, during exercise, endorphins are released to counter any stress you might be feeling. Though inaccurate, endorphins are famously known as feel-good hormones, and so when they are released into your body, your mood is lifted and you get a sense of happiness. Ultimately, any stress you may be experiencing prior to exercise is alleviated. And so when you consistently work out, your body gets a regular supply of endorphins and dopamine, hence leaving you supercharged and energized to take on the day. Another positive effect of exercising on your brain is that you get better sleep. The path leading to better sleep and reduced insomnia through exercise cannot be accurately traced. However, restlessness in sleep is usually caused by depression and anxiety. Exercising serves to reduce depressive symptoms and anxiety through the release of endorphins and dopamine. These result in the symptoms of insomnia being negated, and hence you should get better sleep. Additionally, when one works out just before going to bed, the temperature drop experienced after exercise could help one fall asleep. Also, exercising in the afternoon or early evenings can result in better sleep as well. Our bodies operate on a biological clock called a circadian rhythm, and since insomnia is caused by a skewed circadian rhythm, exercise can help fix our biological clock, resulting in better sleep as well. In the short run, exercising lifts your mood because of the release of endorphins and moderate levels of serotonin. The constant release of these hormones makes you feel good about yourself and happy, which amazingly also increases your confidence. How amazing is that? This is because as you exercise, even without seeing any physical results at the beginning, you get a better body feel of yourself. By making the decision to get healthier and proactively trying to get fit and in shape, you become proud and feel great and awesome about yourself, and hence resulting in the confidence boost. Ultimately, when physical changes can be seen, your confidence explodes. And in fact, some people have attested exercise to single-handedly changing their life and mentality towards life in general. Exercise gives you a renewed sense of worth. It makes you feel great and happy about yourself. It improves your confidence to the level that you will finally have the courage to ask out that girl you always liked. It can and will improve your grades. It can also save you money by cutting down on trips to the hospital every now and then, and also on money spent buying prescription drugs. So exercising is clearly good for our physical and mental health. And by exercising for just 3 hours a week consistently, in all probability you're going to live longer than you otherwise would. And that longer life will likely feel more happy and fulfilling. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video or think it would benefit a friend or someone else, please share it. Also guys, please do me a favor and click on the bell icon and enable notifications if you're a subscriber. If you're not, well, welcome to the channel, and I hope you do subscribe and enable notifications. With that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.